Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Let's talk about Abby for a minute. Let's talk about Abby and Gwen. I think at this point, I don't know what to say about Abigail. I really don't. Because, yeah, okay, so she overhears that Gwen is pregnant with Chad's child. She loses it. She really loses it. And here's the thing. I've been watching this since Gwen came to town and pretty much, threw a wrecking ball through Abigail's life. All the things between trying to destroy her family, trying to destroy her dad's marriage, trying to destroy her marriage, and quote-unquote, killing her grandmother, which we don't know if she did or not. So she's done a lot of stuff, and also she used a drug on Abigail that nearly fried her brain. She did a lot of stuff. So I get the anger. I really do. I get the anger, the resentment, and to, not really forgiving Gwen or like, finding it so difficult to forgive her. And Gwen has done a lot of bad stuff to deserve her anger and her resentment. And so for the most part, for the majority of it, okay, for all of it, I've been on Abigail's side. Until today. Because as bad as the stuff that, Gwen's done, this chick Abigail really must have lost her damn mind when she was like, you know what you can sit there and do to save our, to save our family or whatever? You could terminate the pregnancy. I was like, I'm sorry, what? What did she just say? I don't even know where to begin on how effed up that is. Okay? She is literally sitting there saying her child is an inconvenience in everyone else's lives, and it should end because it's an inconvenience. I was like, wow, lady, you are on a whole different level of messed upness. I get that Gwen has been trashed for a very long time, and I can't sit there and defend her actions because it is what it is. But telling someone, even if that was not her sister or her half-sister, even if they're saying that, it's just absolutely god-awful. Okay? But on top of how messed up that is, that's her niece or nephew that she's basically sitting there saying, oh no, I want you to get rid of it because it's going to inconvenience me and my marriage. Like, you gotta be just... I don't even have the words to sit there and describe this chick. I really don't. And that's literally what she was sitting there doing, just going off and yada 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 and yelling and just being super bitchy. Okay? And then she leaves. She goes to Chad's place. She goes back to the house. And she starts drinking. Now I'm sitting there thinking, at this point I think that me and Chad are both looking at her like, I'm pretty sure it's not good with your medication. Maybe you shouldn't be, like, drinking this, alcohol like it's water, like it's tap water. And so Chad says that, and she just straight up ignores him and just continues to keep drinking. And finally, when Chad is like, what is going on? Abigail tells him that Gwen is pregnant with your child. And walks off. Like, I'm trying not to be too negative. I really am. But Jesus Christ, Abigail. That was just a line that I felt like she just crossed with me. And so now, Gwen is sitting there thinking, pondering if she should terminate the pregnancy or if she should keep the pregnancy, keep her child. And Jack is like, listen, I got your back one way or the other. Now, Chad was talking to Theo. And I gotta sit there and say Now, I've been calling Chad a dick pretty much since I started really watching this show. I've been calling him a dick, okay? And seeing this side of Chad actually being a human being, that was like, wait, he's smiling, he's laughing, he's hugging Theo, he's treating him like, family and everything. Yo, who is this guy? So I thought it was actually really nice seeing him just talking and just chatting it up with him and everything like that. And of course, Theo, I don't know what to think of Theo at this point, because he starts talking about Sierra and talks about how, he pretty much has feelings for her, and he doesn't think that Ben is good enough for her and everything like that. But then he's like, listen, I get it, she's married and it's wrong. So now I don't know what to think of him. I still think he's trash a bit. I still do think he's kind of trash. Not gonna lie. Because it's like, you shouldn't even be having those, like, whatever feelings that they're having for Sierra, regardless if she doesn't remember, you still should just be like, no, let me find somebody else. She's still married and I'll still be taking advantage of the situation. Even if Ben was killed off, I was still, well, okay, maybe if Ben was killed off, I don't know. My point is, like, that she's married to somebody else. If she had her memories back, she would be with him. But the fact that she doesn't, and you're just like, oh, well, I don't know. I still have feelings for her, and I don't think that Ben is good enough for her, so I don't know. But it's wrong. And it's almost like, okay, so it's wrong, but you still want to do it anyway. Okay. Wow. Theo, I just don't know what to think about you sometimes, B. And of course, Chad has his own issues with Ben for all the stuff that he did to him and his family. I don't know. This was before I started watching it, so apparently he did some. He has smoke with him. He did some stuff to Chad and his family that he is just like, yeah, I'm not good with him. So. Sierra was just being a whiny brat and just being extremely annoying with Justin, and it was just Smith saying, well, how could you let me go out with a guy like that? He did this, he did that, he did the third, he'll never change, yada, yada, yada. It just, like, after a while, I just did not care. I was just like, I am so over, I'm so over this stupid-ass storyline. I'm sorry, but, like, I just don't care. She acts extremely bratty and whiny and bitchy, and Ben acts mopey and like this. Listen, I get it. Sierra's love of his life. He's upset that he did everything he could to get her back. Practically being the only person that really felt that she was alive, get her back, and now she doesn't remember him, doesn't love him, and doesn't want anything to do with him or even get back her memories. So I get it. I do. But Jesus Christ, after a while it's like, bro, what are you doing? So when he's sent there talking to Jake, Jake is like, hey, I got that drug that can possibly get her memories back. Ben is like, I don't think it's a good idea because of X, Y, and Z and Marlena, and it can fry her brain, it can possibly hurt her, and I shouldn't do it. And, Jake is like, no, you should do it. You should do it. You should totally do it. So after a while, Jake is like, listen, you don't even have to use the drug. Just have it, just in case. So Ben is like, alright, make the call. Now I do gotta sit there and say, I do love their friendship. Ben does not seem like he has a lot of friends, practically anyone besides Marlena. And since Will is off, well, I don't know what's going on, but he's off somewhere else, that was pretty much his last friend. So, yeah, it's good to see him actually have some friends. So Ben decides to just do like the worst case scenario. Okay, he literally sneaks in Sierra's room and brings out a needle while she's sleeping. I'm like, well, this is not going to end well. I guess you just want to go back to jail, huh? Because granted, I get that, you got to do stuff to spice it up, but it's one of those things where it's like, bro, what the hell were you thinking? This woman wants no parts of you, so you say, hey, my friend got a drug that may or may not work, that may or may not actually hurt her or help her, and I know she wants nothing to do with me, so I should sneak into her hospital room while she's asleep and bring out this giant-ass syringe, because nothing can go wrong. It was interesting seeing Justin on the show again. Mostly because I've seen him this is actually the second time I've seen him today, so man, that guy can work. Okay? He can work. I don't understand how he memorized all those lines on GH, and he comes from this show and he's just like, alright, let's do it. Let's just bang it out. And apparently he's been on both of these shows for a hot minute. Okay? Maybe the 80s, early 90s kind of long time, so man, guy's working. Now the last scene I want to sit there and talk about is the Philip and Gabby. Gabby rushes in his office and it's like, let's talk about those numbers. I gotta kind of get this stuff approved this way I can kind of start getting stuff moving, my product moving. And Philip was like, I don't know if I have time to do that today. And she's about to flip out. But then Philip was like, no, I was just sitting there thinking, we gotta kind of talk about what happened yesterday. Now, I know that Gabby did sit there and say to Philip that, she's not exactly over Jake and she's still, not ready to, move on or anything like that. So, I understand that, technically Philip is going into a situation with his eyes wide open to the situation of, listen, don't set yourself up too much because you may get your heart broken. But I feel like that's exactly what's going to wind up happening. And seeing how Chloe decided, and I get that Philip cheated on Chloe with Mimi, but now Chloe's sitting there going after a person who is in a relationship with somebody else, and he still is hurting over that. So between that, and now Gabby is doing this whole thing where she's like, she flirts with them. She flirts with him in front of his mother to, piss off his mother. But then when they're alone, she's like, oh, well, I don't know if we should mix business with pleasure because we work together and yada, yada, yada. And honestly, tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie. If this was real world, in the real world, I'm pretty sure the last thing that any person wants to then do is mix business with pleasure because it just, let's just be honest, it's just not going to go well. But yes, so he pretty much, he's like, no, I think we should go out sometime, we should kind of just explore this, and she's all kind of being defensive, and well, I don't know, and I'm still mad about Jake and everything like that, and I don't want to admit it, and, Philip was like, well, the best way to get over an old relationship is to start a new one. Now, I have a similar philosophy about that, but I'm not going to say it because that just is going to sound, well, let's just put it this way, I don't think anyone wants to hear. Well, it sounds very raunchy, so I'm just not going to say it. But the point is, he puts the offer on the table. He's like, yo, listen, let's go on a date. And at first she says no for a while, but then she's like, let's go to lunch, And he's like, so it's a date? And she's like, yeah. And I'm just like, so let me get this straight. You didn't want to go with him, you didn't want to go out to dinner with him because you felt like it was too much pressure. But you go to lunch with him, which is the exact same thing. It's the same thing. You're... okay, sure, whatever. So she agrees to actually go out on a lunch date with him as opposed to going on a dinner date with him because what the menu's going to be different. I don't know. Anyway, they agreed to actually go. And, you know, Philip gives her some flowers that is not her favorite, but she appreciates the gesture. So they're talking. Jake shows up, and Jake is saying something. I don't know exactly what, but he's just standing there smiling and grinning or whatever. And of course, at this point, Gabby cannot wait to stick it to him. And, you know, she grabs his arm, and then they walk off into whatever date that they're going to be doing. Philip is an interesting character. I'm not going to lie. Been watching my reviews for a while. You know that I've been calling this guy a man-child. And while I do not regret anything that I said, I'm trying to use an analogy that is not going to sound too gross, like Snip is saying he grew on me, or, you know, he started to grow on me like a fungus. That just sounds gross. But he's a character that, even when he was whining and just kind of annoying, I'm not going to lie, he's kind of grown on me in a way where it's like he's not always like this whiny man-child. Like, he can actually be an interesting character, you know. He has his way of just being somewhat vulnerable, but also like it's hard to put it into words. But the character's definitely grown on me. I'm not gonna lie. And it's kind of weird me saying that. And even when I sit there and watch Philip, and I'm like kind of rooting for him, even with Gabby, and we all know how I feel about Gabby, I'm just like, yo man, shoot your shot. Now I look at it about 4 months ago, and I was like, man, this guy's such a whiny little thing, isn't he? And I'm just like, man, that guy really actually grew on me. Kudos, Days. I don't know how you managed to do it, but you did. With that being said, I think that's about it. They also talk. I'm not gonna lie. Theo and Chad also talked about their his marriage, and how even after everything, he's still rooting for him, and, you know, hoping that they can kind of get back to their happily ever after, which is clearly not going to happen anymore. But I felt like I should say that because I kind of forgot about Theo talking about Chad's marriage, because I was a little bit kind of busy sitting there thinking about how much kind of a snake he is. I say kind of a snake because he does have a conscience. He does understand that it's wrong, but it's like, okay, well, that's half of it. It's wrong, but I kind of feel like doing it anyway. So, whatever. With that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. I know this came out super late, so I do appreciate every person that, you know, is watching and commenting, and just let me know your thoughts are. And, yeah. Have a good day or good night. Be safe. Catch you in the next video.